Hi. In mathematics, there are different types of numbers. Numbers are broken up into different categories depending on their value. The first categories I'd like to look at are real and non-real numbers. Non-real numbers have no set value. An example of a non-real number could be the square root of any negative number. Remember, the square number is the answer we get when multiplying any number by itself. Two positive numbers gives us a positive answer. So for example, if we have 3 times 3, we get 9. When you multiply two negative numbers, we also get a positive answer. Negative 3 multiplied by negative 3 also gives us 9. I hate to hate you, therefore I love you. As you can see, a square number can never be negative. So the square root of a negative number has no value. Another example of a non-real number is any fraction with a denominator of 0. We can have 4 over 0. We can look at 10 over 0, or even 125 over 0. It does not matter what the numerator of the fraction is. If the denominator of the fraction is 0, the fraction is undefined and has no value. So it is a non-real number. There is only one non-real number that you'll work with in high school, and that is infinity. Numbers increase and decrease indefinitely. No matter what number you have, you will always find a bigger number and a smaller number. Infinity has no value, and we write it like this. It almost looks like an 8 lying on its side. Real numbers have a set value. As long as you can write it as a number, it is a real number. In mathematics, we use the term denote. This means that we describe something in mathematical terms. We denote real numbers as the letter R. Real numbers are broken up into two categories: rational and irrational numbers. Rational numbers can be written as whole numbers, fractions, and certain kinds of decimals. Whole numbers could be 2, negative 584, or 9,437,862. Every number that can be written as a fraction is a rational number. So all of these are rational numbers. Rational numbers can also be written as decimals, but they must follow a certain pattern. Let's make some space over here. I want to start looking at a terminating decimal. This means that we can write down the whole decimal. So we could say 0,3 or 0,678. What about 1,27898, or even 9,28909? These are all rational decimals. A decimal can also have a repeating single digit. This is known as a recurring decimal and will look like this. These are all recurring decimals and they carry on forever. To make it easier when working with decimals like this, we use the recurring symbol. The recurring symbol is simply a dot placed over the recurring digit. So our recurring decimals up here will now look like this. A decimal can also have a recurring pattern. For example, here we have 0,12 recurring, 1,456 recurring, and 3,2751 recurring. In cases like this, we put a line over the first set of recurring digits. So our recurring decimals will look like this. Remember that rational numbers are denoted as Q. Irrational numbers, on the other hand, can only be written as decimals. They cannot be written as fractions. If decimals are non-ending or non-recurring, they are irrational numbers. By definition, irrational numbers are any numbers that are not considered rational. A well-known example of a rational number is pi. We usually refer to pi as 3,14 or even 3,141592653559. But if we look deeper, we will see that pi is actually 3,141592653589. I'm not even going to try and read out this entire number because this goes on for somewhere around 5 trillion digits. Irrational numbers are denoted as Q with a little line at the top over here. It looks like an apostrophe. We will look at this in more detail in our upcoming videos. But in this section, I want to focus on rational numbers. Here are some examples of rational numbers. Let's start with integers. An integer is any positive, negative whole number or zero. These numbers are not fractions or decimals. So any of these are integers. We denote integers by the letter Z. Next, I want to look at whole numbers. Whole numbers are just like integers, but they only include zero and positive numbers. Whole numbers are denoted as NO. Finally, let's look at natural numbers. Natural numbers are only positive numbers and do not include zero. Natural numbers are denoted as N. Please keep these basic details in mind as we will use them throughout this course.